Okay, there we go. Hi, Dex and Joe. Got got the buttons pressed. I'm here. Somewhat here. All right. Welcome everybody and thank you for joining me. I just finished up all the full moon readings for the people who have ordered the full moon readings. If you are still if you're still wanting to order one, get a hold of me. They are $40 for a full moon reading, and you can order one, and it's for you. And it's I don't like do all of Virgo and then send you that generic Virgo reading. So the reading's for you. So there you go. So if you want to order, get on it now. Tomorrow's another busy day. So anyways, but tired. I know I'm tired today. I did work last night, but my work isn't strenuous. It's kind of my work. My work, I answer the phone, I direct people to the bathroom, I book appointments. It's not a stressful job at all. It's very boring. And I'm usually out of there before 9 o'clock because it's not worth there's nobody there basically after 8 o'clock in there unless they're going for hockey or curling or something like that, or they're pickleball. So yeah. So welcome everybody. What else? Well, it's the full moon. And a lot of people are getting really freaked out about this full moon. It is a beautiful moon, very energetic. A lot of water, though, a lot of water energy, and that can be very overwhelming for people. And it can be a lot for people to take in and bring in a lot of emotion. And I was just listening to the Leo King, and he was talking about 2013 and 2014, and I think 2014 was the solar eclipse with all of the energies in Pisces. And I remember 2013 and 2014. It was a wild, crazy time in my life. Oh, one of the wild, crazy times in my life. I have quite a few wild and crazy times in my life, but the 2013, 2014, a lot of changes were happening, and especially when it came around my children. And I know I was really in 2013 watching and learning more about the astrology at that time. Hello, Shar. And one of the things, because I kept noticing, is like that was in around that time is when I started to really notice a lot of changes in and around my eldest son and the mental disorders really coming out. And so things, when I was looking at his chart and the energies that were coming in, especially with all the planetary activity that was in Pisces at the time, it was you could really start to see things coming out, or things coming forward. But hindsight is 2020, as they say, but not really fully understanding, knowing that there's something there. That's the whole thing. The astrology is a guide, right? It's not. um it shows you things that are it shows you things that are going to happen, but it's not doesn't show you necessarily the exact. We have an idea that such and such a thing is going to happen. So similar to when the cell phones went down, and the movement of Mercury and the conjunction of Mars and Venus, and it has to do with a point in Scorpio. So, anyways, you just sort of have an idea. Okay, something electronic is going to happen there. It's just like the Saturn Uranus square, back in 2022, with Saturn being in Aquarius and squaring off Uranus. We knew that there's some kind of scientific experiment that's going to happen, and that don't fall into it. So, and that's what we go by. So when I saw a lot of energies, especially in the Piscean energies, knowing that something was going to happen, also in around that time was my husband's Saturn return, and him coming into his second Saturn return. So knowing that there would be some sort of disruptions. So the long and short of it was 2014, my father passed away. 2012, my brother passed away. Then 2013, we started to see crazy things that were happening with Dominic. And then by 2014, we were um a place that we were living in, we had a dispute finally with our landlord because of the basement and the flooding that happened in 2012 that he never really cleaned up, and the mold and all that kind of bullshit. Finally, we left. It was we left that place and we moved into another home. So it was quite transitional, really transitional time. Crazy, a lot of movements. And looking at this that's coming in right now for people, it's huge transitional times. It's huge. Um, a lot of water that's there. And this can bring a lot of things up for people um, in their life, their mental abilities, depression, psychosis, and the bit, right? And it can trigger a lot of that energy, and especially with the full moon. So it's one of those energies that are there, that is surrendering. Again, this is like, you might not think things are going the way that you want it to go. You want it to go or look different, or you want it to be different. And this is not trying to remold something at this time. It's, if you're floating along, continue to float along. Um don't try and rock the boat too much. This isn't a time to really rock the boat and really uh get crazy and reinvent the wheel, per se, because there's going to be so much that's going to be coming out at people in so many ways. For instance, Google. God, fuck Google. If you Google, what was it? What did we just Google with women? Happy white woman, or white women in a relationship. So if you Google white woman in a relationship on Google right now, it's going to show you every type of relationship. Basically, it's going to show you, but it's not going to show you a lot of relationships with white men. When you Google happy, white man in a relationship, you'll see him in a gay relationship and other relationships, but you won't see him with a white woman. It's really weird. Google just was called out on, Tim Pool did a whole thing on their AI is called Gemini AI. And Tim Pool, if you don't watch him, it's Tim Pool cast. He's he did a whole thing, and he was entering all this information into the AI for Google. And Google, when he asked when one of the questions, it was quite funny. He asked for um an NHL, a hockey player that plays NHL hockey, and it said it cannot find, it couldn't find an image for that. And the funny thing is that hockey is 90% or more, 95, I'd say 97% white guys play hockey, NHL hockey. You don't It's very odd that you see, when you see a black guy playing, I, I don't think I've seen an Asian NHL player. Maybe there is. Uh, you know, but it's mainly white guys that are playing it. It couldn't find it. It said it could not compute basically what he was saying. So it's like almost like they're, all of the craziness that's happening right now was, like, let's wipe white men off the face of the earth, right? I never get depressed, but slept till noon to avoid the world. That's not what you're supposed to be doing, Dana. But that's okay. It's all of the craziness that's happening, and here we are. This is where the message of, the astrology, and the message that's coming forth is to just keep floating, just keep doing your stuff, just keep doing what you do. And and not get caught up in it. It's kind of hard sometimes, not to get caught up in it, but you just have to take a step back. Oh, the other thing with Google, which I thought was funny, is that he said, for Vikings, and all the Vikings were black or Asian. Vikings are Nordic, Swedish, Orient, and they're white. So it's just sort of funny. So it's like almost you're seeing this and you're shaking your head. And this is where it really wants to get you and pull you in these different crazy directions. And in it, you just have to say, okay, you know what? I'm not going to give you my attention. I'm not going to give you my time. My focus has to be over here. My focus has to be on me creating the business I want to create, me creating the world that I wish to live in and bring in forth the love, the joy, and the happiness in my life. And that's where this full moon is coming in and where you want to surrender. If you want, the thing is that you're going to find these are the things that you're going to be experiencing over the next little while, more so than ever, is that you're going to experience, of course, inflation. You're going to experience where people are going to be losing their houses, losing things, and that we already know that. We already see that happening. But how do you embrace that? It's like, okay, where can I help out? Is there anybody in my area or that I know personally that needs a hand, that needs to help? That's where you turn it around and you start to say, okay, what can I do? Where can I help? Where can I put my positive energy into? I was listening to this she's a nun. She was part of the Sisters of Charity for Mother Teresa, and she came from Baltimore. Listening to her story, and um, in the part of Baltimore, very old, like she's old. She's an old lady now, older than me. But she lived in the poor area of Baltimore, like really poor. And her dad fought in the Korean War, and the thing is that when her and her dad when dad and his wife, her mom, they made a vow, and it was forever. And they got a message from that he was back from the war because he was missing in action. And then she got a message that he's at the hospital, and the army hospital. And they said to her, this is what they said to her: if you don't want to claim him, it's okay. And if you don't want to claim, you will get extra amount of money. Like they were going to actually basically pay her off to not claim him for whatever reason, why. And she was like, no, that's my husband. And the funny thing is, funny thing, haha, not, funny. But when she went into the room and she found him, he was repeating her name with God. Like he was repeating her name, and that she went and sat beside him and said, I'm here, and brought him home. Uh, he was broken, totally, totally broken. But there was, the nun, I can't remember her name. Um, she would have to go sit with her dad on the porch because, he couldn't walk very well and stuff like that. But other people in the neighborhood knew who he was. He was well known, army guy, and they respected him. But what happened was that so many veterans, you know, um, wives did not come back to collect their husbands. And in not collecting their husbands, the only place they could go was on the street. And her mom started to see this, and she would invite them in and start feeding them. She didn't have a lot. She didn't have a lot. And but she would feed whatever they had. And she goes, one of the things is, like, when you're poor, you don't have money, but if you help somebody, you're poor, you help somebody, and they have something for you. Like if you need a pound, you need another, oh, I have an extra 5 pounds of potatoes. They will give you those 5 pounds of potatoes. And that's where she really experienced the first type of soup kitchen and working with the poor. And connecting with the people around you. The reason I'm telling you this is that that's where the energy is. The energy is, you may not have a lot, or you might not think you have a lot, but there are things that you have or that you can do to really begin to help other people and begin to make that difference in the world around you. And it might be something so simple. It could be so simple that you decided to um, you're planting your tomatoes, and so you're going to plant 5 extra plants of of tomatoes, and those tomatoes, out of those vines of tomatoes, you are going to be giving them to the soup kitchen, or you're going to be giving them to someplace else to help them out. So things like that, and you're going to find the return is going to come in different ways. It's going to come in a way unexpected, where as she was speaking, she goes, all of these people showed up for food, and all they had, she goes, all she had, she goes, I think she was like, just like some bread and tomato soup, she said, and maybe an onion or something left in the kitchen. Like there was like nothing left in the kitchen. And her dad said, fry up, start frying up the what do you call it, the onion with some bacon fat that they had, and fried it up with that and put it into the soup, and then slice up the the bread, and then everybody could get a small piece of bread with a little bit of soup. Then the next thing they knew, her mom went to the back door, and there was like potatoes and all different kinds of vegetables, and that for her to make a big soup, for people and stuff. So it's out of that generosity of things that you do and help with one other people, that it's going to return. And that's why I say the world may not be the way that you would like it to be or the way that you think it should be, but there's such opportunity in the world right now to be able to be that shining light and to be that focal point to help others. And that's where the calling is. And when we start to step out and we start to do those things, um, it comes back to you in different ways. And so we have to be open to that. Yeah, it's frustrating. It's very, we feel the bumps and the craziness. Like Google doesn't want to admit to white men and white women having, you know, having a happy life together. Like a white woman can only have a happy life with an Asian, an Indian, or a black man. It's hilarious. So this is like, the crazy world we're in, but that's the Piscean energy, right? It's crazy, and it's, with Aquarius energy, it just brings in some really just weirdness to it. So we're in a weird abstract kind of world, but in that weird abstract kind of world, there's still a basics. There's still people who are needing help. There are still people that need a handout, and those people could just be, it could be your own children, your adult children. They could be, just the neighbor, right? It could be anybody. It doesn't You don't have to open up a soup kitchen in your house. But it could be, a lot, you just doing something simple of, you have the space to grow a garden, you have a space to grow a couple extra plants, and knowing that that's what you're going to dedicate those veggies for, kind of thing. So it's there. It's there for you. You might even have the opportunity. There is down in, was it Savannah? No. Is it Alabama? Could be in Alabama. I don't know. Savannah. Anyways, somewhere down south. Very cool little town. They have started a Hope Kitchen. Um, I think it's like Hope for the Future Kitchen, something like that. Anyways, they started a Hope Kitchen. Now, if you are a person who can cook, um, there's community centers that have kitchens that you can rent out, and they are industrialized kitchens, and where people are going in and utilizing these kitchens and either teaching people how to cook, um, people going in there and creating meals for people who are neighbors, neighborhood people, knowing people who are shut-ins and things like that, and starting to teach others how to cook, how to can, and things like that. I've always seen that. I am not a cook. I just get ideas. But if you're a canner and stuff like that, there are industrialized kitchens. And if you want to start a small group to start teaching others to do it. I mean, definitely, definitely. Fabulous. Fabulous. Just fabulous. I just think that's just fabulous sort of energies to start to look at. So today, take some time, enjoy the day. Enjoy and embrace the beauty that you do have around you. Give thanks to all that you have and all that's on the way. And know that you are totally blessed. And we're all blessed. You know, we might not think that we live in the finest houses or the greatest whatever, but just if you look around, we are totally blessed and being thankful for it. And that's really where this moon is. So, on that note, I'm going to love you and leave you. If you're definitely wanting a full moon reading, get a hold of me. And today will be the last day to order them. And yeah, have a glorious day, everyone, and shine your light. Right? Don't let anybody else dim your light. So have a good one. We'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.